Wait, welcome back to The X.
That was
Stop it. Sorry.
What? No. Let's just leave that in there. What was that?
I don't know. It just came out.
I like it. Okay, if you're
so it reminds you of Degeneration X from all your wrestling days.
yeah, but no.
Oh, okay. The X podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
So it'll be great if anybody's watching on YouTube. They'll enjoy that moment.
I really hope you're not. I have a question.
What's that?
You seen any good movies lately?
Oh my! Other than Top Gun,
Yes, Top Gun was so good.
top movie
So
of the
good.
summer. I did see. That
Not
was
about the top movie, but it was great.
no, that was the best movie this summer. That movie is great.
It's
Stop
a great,
it.
It's a
Stop.
great movie. I just don't know if it's the best movie.
It's the best movie. Okay, I have.
The Blessed.
I actually saw. Someone told me they thought it was bad, terrible. I went and saw it when I was in Houston. I actually liked it. The last Jurassic Park.
I loved it.
I liked it a lot.
People were very divided on it.
Why?
But how can you throw in a Jurassic Park movie and not just love it?
It was so good.
I thought the plot was kind of odd. I thought the way the whole narrative of it was a little bit different, and I think they could have done more with it. But I loved it. I enjoyed it.
I kind of thought it was fascinating. The whole dude creating a little world somewhere over on the other side, and I don't know.
I love how Velociraptors have turned from the biggest threat to the biggest pet.
Oh yeah, now there's the real big boys.
Yeah.
Not even the T-Rex.
No, so
But whatever that other thing was, it was.
I actually watched in the gym the other day. It was really interesting. This YouTube video of actual archaeologists and scientists watching clips of all the Jurassic Parks and dissecting what was accurate, what was inaccurate, what they liked, what they enjoyed. It's really interesting.
That's funny. What about you?
So I have been on I go in phases where I won't see a movie forever, and then I'll go and I've just been in a mood lately to lose myself in story and to watch movies. So I've actually seen a lot of movies.
You lost yourself in story.
So Top Gun was great. I did see Black Phone. It was supposed to be a psychological thriller. It was a little gorier than I was expecting, but it was pretty good. I saw Jurassic World. I saw Thor. I left early. I was sleepy and I kind of lost myself in it.
You went and saw Thor.
Oh yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
People either loved it or hated it. That was another movie people loved or hated. I saw a movie actually this past weekend that is my favorite movie of the summer. Notebook?
Nope.
No, I've heard of that.
I want to see Nope.
With Peele?
I'm trying to guess. I'm trying to guess this movie.
No. Okay, you gonna keep guessing?
Well, this is one that's
I
out
want to see it.
recently?
My mom saw Elvis. I want to kind of want to see the new Elvis.
Yeah,
I heard it was good.
I don't know if I care.
But there's a movie that came out that has gotten like no publicity whatsoever. Okay. I literally had to check the times, watch the trailer. But it's my favorite movie I've seen in a while. It was just so fun. It was called The Gray Man.
Oh, The Gray Man.
With Ryan Gosling.
No, it's coming out on July 22nd on Netflix.
Oh.
Or Amazon.
Well, I saw it in theaters this weekend, and it was action from beginning to end. I loved it.
I have wanted to see The Gray Man. I've wanted to see it. And it's coming out.
Last night, because I still kind of have my Netflix subscription, I actually watched a movie that's I think it's just a Netflix original that was really, really good. I've got to still finish the last like 20 minutes, but it has a lot of people in it. It has what's his name? Ryan Reynolds,
Spiderhead?
Jennifer Garner. It's called the Adam Project.
Oh, I think I saw part of it.
It's a time travel movie.
Yeah.
It is actually
Was it good?
really, really good.
I think I started it and then we didn't finish it. But
I thought it was really good. Anyways, okay. I have a question based on kind of talking about movies. What do you... I'm trying to picture what you do on the weekends.
Well, as I said in the previous episode, been working on a deck.
You've been working on a deck?
Literally.
What do you do for fun?
I've been working on a deck. That's not fun.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's all I've been doing. Mm-hmm. Well, I did a bit of traveling in June.
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't around for a lot of those.
Yeah.
But on Fridays, actually previous Friday recently, we went to Easton for the day.
Okay.
So went to Easton, went and did some shopping, getting ready for a wedding and some other things. So at the time of recording this, so a lot of times we end up kind of going out to lunch, Lorelei and I, and doing something like that on Fridays.
That's cool.
It's kind of a relaxed day. I usually still work out in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes wash my car.
Something I've been thinking about lately, kind of want to have a quick conversation over, is the whole idea of recreation.
Yeah.
so you, myself, Trey, Tucker, Zach, we flew in to Daytona. I don't know when this episode will come out, probably in a few weeks, or if you're listening to it right now. But we flew into Daytona, went to Passion Camp. One of the leader sessions, this camp for middle and high school students, thousands pack out this Ocean Center arena. And we were able to, as adults, go into the leader sessions. And really influential, kind of famous pastor leader, Ben Stewart, was giving a talk really on resilience, on how do you make it in this thing of leadership, especially nowadays. And he talked about this really interesting concept that he had read in a book about the 3 rings that addicts use when they're trying to live a healthy, integrated life. And like the number 1 ring is, okay, what are your temptations? What is it that you're trying to avoid? And so, whatever you're...
Is that the smallest ring?
That's the smallest ring.
That's the bullseye.
That's the bullseye.
Because that's what most addicts think about.
Right.
How do I not be addicted to this?
Right.
Right?
Right. How do I not be addicted to this? So this is like as simple as don't drink alcohol. Don't look at porn, whatever it may be. Then you have the ring outside of that, which is, okay, these are the things that lead to the thing. So these are if you're an alcoholic, when I go to a bar, that would be in the outer ring, because that would probably lead you to drinking. Or
Gotcha.
if I'm if I am online late at night by myself, that would probably lead to this if my temptation is pornography, that kind of thing. So anyways, long story short, then there's the third ring, and he was thinking, okay, is this the thing that leads to the thing that leads to the thing?
Right.
What is it? And the guy shocked me. He said, no, these are the things that give you life. These are the things you do for fun. These are the things that actually fill you up. This is the redemptive outlet so that you don't pursue a destructive outlet. These are the things. Maybe for you it is basketball. Maybe for you it is surfing. Maybe for you it's a hobby. But what are those things? And Ben Stewart, he talks about how he filled out the outer ring, came back, talked to the person. The person said, I want to talk about how sad and pathetic your outer ring is. Because Ben Stewart just put, I like to read books. I love Jesus. And the guy's like, okay, that is pitiful. So anyways, that really spoke to me, because I have already, and I think by the time this episode comes out, I may have already spoken a message in our church context on rhythms, creating rhythms in your life that give you life. And one of the things that I was already thinking about is this whole idea of recreation. And part of it is because I have a friend that for a few years worked at a large church in Texas, and he had the privilege to host really influential speakers when they would come in to speak, really influential authors, so some of the leaders most recognized in the world. And he would pick their brains, and he would ask them questions. And I remember one time he told me that, as a lot of leaders, church leaders were starting to fall morally and getting in trouble, and just leaders all over the world, he asked them, he's like, what is the common denominator? And this person, is actually Rich Wilkerson Jr., told him, he said, he was talking about my buddy Logan. He said, the common denominators, they didn't have any hobbies. And because you're thinking, okay, the common denominator of somebody that blows up their life is probably they didn't pray enough. They didn't read the Bible enough. They didn't
have accountability.
They didn't have accountability. And he shocked me. He said, no, the common denominator is they didn't have a hobby. They had no outlet. They had no healthy part of their life that when the pressures of life, the tension of life mounted, all they did was they were either workaholics. And so his basic thing was, if you don't have an outlet, then you're probably going to go to a bottle or a forbidden person. And so it was so funny because he looked at my buddy who's young in ministry, and he said, bro, you got to learn how to have fun. He said, the most spiritual thing I can tell you is you need to find a sport or a hobby.
Who's talking to your friend?
Interest. He's talking to my friend. And he said, bro, you need to laugh more. He's like, you need to get out and learn to get around people. He said, that is the greatest advice I could give you. Here's this influential leader saying, the greatest advice I can give you is you need to have more fun, and you need to get out and find something you enjoy.
Be less spiritual.
And be less spiritual. And I just was like, man, that's such an interesting thought. And so, and all of us, whether you're in a church context or a leadership context or not, it's true that we are holistic beings, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And And it can almost seem like counterintuitive in really tough times, or maybe a really tough season in your life, or when the world's falling apart, that I'm gonna do something for fun. It almost sounds like a luxury. And so I just quick conversation: is it a luxury or is it a necessity? It's interesting during World War II. There's this anecdote that Winston Churchill every single night during the war would spend 2 hours reading a book.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting when you study history that all of these influential leaders, they actually prioritized leisure. They would prioritize recreation. They would prioritize doing something that replenished them and refreshed them.
Well, and wasn't the part of, if I remember Ben Stewart was talking about, that if you don't, I think the part is almost like it was like a bullseye. What do you focus on? Mm-hmm. And if you only focus on trying not to do what's on the inner ring,
Yeah.
you're going to fail.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's all connected.
Yeah.
And what does it look like to actually put your energy and your focus into the outer ring?
Yeah.
And I think
It's like the greatest strategy isn't defense, but offense.
right, I agree. And I think that is hard for different groups of people. Mm-hmm. I think it's hard for achievers. Mm-hmm. I think people that have put such a high priority on achieving something, accomplishing something, building something, creating something, launching something, leading something. People that put such a high priority on that, they divest, but they don't really all of their energy into that, right? You know, divest is like, okay, I'm going to do here, here, here. No, they kind of just holistically divest themselves into that. So the work hours are that. The leisure hours are that, you know, the sleeping hours are that, because they're not sleeping very much. And so I think achievers, let me just say it this way. I think what's really hard about that is that people who are driven tend to feel guilty about taking time for leisure. You're not creating.
Yeah.
You're not producing, you know, and I think sometimes too, if you're, depending on what seat you're in and what you do for life or what kind of responsibilities you have, you feel like I will never get it done. I feel like I have too much to do, and so you feel guilty when you stop to go do something fun.
Right. Well, not just people that are driven. I know sometimes with us being two males, it can be easy to miss the female perspective. But I feel like just as
You
much.
saying women aren't driven?
No, but I'm adding something. Women are very driven.
Sorry, I was trying to get you in trouble.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, but mom guilt's a thing.
Yeah.
Like I know there's so many women I know that it's not just, yes, they're very, very driven women, but they're very, very caring women that, I know a lot that it is so easy and second nature for them to care for their kids. But the idea for them to invest in themselves,
Take time for themselves.
to have any ounce of, for lack of better words, self-care, to let themselves rest, to do something that replenishes them.
The first time a mom leaves her kids with someone else to go off and do something fun, whether it's a night or overnight or do whatever, mom guilt.
Yeah.
My wife has felt that. It's funny, guys don't seem to have as much guilt over that for whatever reason, but moms really do. So I think that's a great point.
Is there no dad guilt?
There's not a lot. There definitely seems to live more with the mom.
Yeah.
I think there's more of an attachment. But I do think, but some of that is probably comes to there is a specific responsibility and weight that moms feel more than dads. Why? Because they carried.
Yeah.
Because they maybe nursed the baby.
Well, I think
they provided for that child in a way that the dad maybe didn't or couldn't. And so there is an attachment in just a reciprocating type of experience that moms have with babies, just naturally in the way we're created, just reproduction, the way it's created for that. I think moms probably feel that guilt. And so I agree, though. That's another great, I think as well, let me throw another category in there. So you have really driven people. You can have highly caring, or however we want to put that category. It could be moms, it could be dads, it could be whatever, because you could get the same thing the other way around, taking care of your parents. You get the same way. You're supposed to be taking care of an elderly parent. You're supposed to be taking care of someone, a parent that's that's either disabled or sick, or it could be vice
Right.
versa with a kid, and you feel terrible
Right.
if you're like, I can't go away
Right.
for a weekend and leave them with somebody else. I would feel terrible, right? So I think that's two categories that would probably struggle with this. I think I want to throw another category in there. I think highly spiritual
Yeah.
people. I feel like I've been around some people that are, and I kind of hope I'm not like this, but they're so spiritual, make me feel bad. They're so spiritual that the idea of going to do fun, like I've seen this mentality play out in Christian subcultures that we need to suffer.
Yeah.
Suffer for the Lord.
Calvary Road.
We need to suffer. Yes. Via Dolorosa. We need to suffer for Christ in everything we do. Now, there's a point in which it makes sense that if you're going to suffer for your faith in the culture that you're in to represent Christ. In other words, if I'm going to love somebody who hates me, a neighbor, okay, there could be some of that. There could be, I'm going to suffer because someone's going to make fun of me at work or school because of what I believe and how I'm going to live. But this general idea that we just suffer for suffer's sake.
Yeah.
We just need to suffer for suffer's sake.
Yeah.
And we just need to, we need to suffer in life. And
It's almost like the poverty gospel. There's a suffering gospel.
well, I'll throw out a saint, right? Saint Francis of Assisi. Like, I don't even remember his story. I know there's a movie my parents had me watch when I was younger called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. Have you ever
I've
seen
heard
that?
of this. I haven't
It's
watched
a
it.
really, really old, but kind of classic movie. I don't want to say anything negative about St. Francis of Assisi because he was somebody who
amazing.
he was amazing given. But he literally, in taking a vow of absolute like poverty and everything, at one part, I remember this because I'm a kid watching this movie. He takes off all of his clothes, all of it, and leaves it all behind and walks away.
Oh, wow.
And just starts walking away, like to another village, to another. Nothing. He has zero. Not even clothes on his back. And you just see his naked buttocks as he walks out of frame.
Naked buttocks.
As he walks out of frame.
Can
As
this
a
be
kid.
the clip for this year? This
Naked
week's-
buttocks.
Yeah.
But just that idea was just almost a sense of he was giving it all up. And I understand that. So I just think it was a really powerful story in his day. But I think we have somehow translated that into I can't have a life that I enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
That is fun.
And then fun is not spiritual.
That's what I mean. It's just not spiritual.
You know what's really sad is like 15 years ago, I was I had a very spiritual summer. I mean, very spiritual. A lot of fasting, a lot of hours of prayer, and it was a great summer. God did a lot, but I was early in college years, still maturing, still finding balance in ways, and I don't know why, but I fell into that trap. I've always been somebody who laughs too much, has a lot of fun.
You do laugh too much.
I laugh a lot,
and when you get going, oh my gosh.
But I had this summer where I became like more serious than usual. I'll never forget. Like we came from like a church meeting, and my buddy Caleb was just so funny, so good natured, hilarious, a great time. Like we went to. I remember a group of us went to Waffle House. I don't remember why I remember this. Late at night, and we got out of his car, and someone sent in a really urgent prayer request, and we're like, okay, let's pray here and now. So we prayed in Waffle House, and at the end of the prayer, someone like honked because it probably looked weird because we were standing facing each other praying, and I was trying to laugh, and I said, I was like, man, I was in the deep in prayer, and then I laughed and blah blah, and he goes. And he called me out. He goes, "Oh, do you think that canceled the prayer because you had joy, because you laughed?" And I was like, "Man!" And then I realized in that moment I started falling into this. Isn't it weird how we don't think fun is spiritual?
Yeah.
But fun is spiritual. God designed all of the human emotions. He designed the whole gamut of human experiences, and God designed us to have joy. And I think one of the ways that we fall into traps is when we fall into extremes. And it can be easy, especially as a follower of Jesus, to fall into, I think one of the keys to living a healthy life is to manage the tensions. Right? So for instance, you have Christians that fall into spiritual warfare. So everything's spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
I am a civilian. I'm not a civilian. I am a soldier of Jesus. I am in battling darkness. Well, that's true. But if you live every moment like you're in battling darkness, or you have ones that are like, well, no, I am just a child of my Father, so I'm just going to live as this carefree. Well, that's true, but there's also time to be on mission. And I think we get in trouble when we don't have when we don't manage the tensions well. And one of the things I've been thinking about lately is on this world, while I'm living in this world, how do I, for lack of better words, how do I manage the tension of battle and beauty? That I am on a world where there is spiritual warfare. There is a mission at stake. There is something serious. I do want to live with intention, but I'm also called while I'm in this world to cultivate a life of joy and to see a sunset.
What about the people that find beauty in battle?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
You know, it made me think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm called to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And to be on mission. I'm called to weep with those who weep and to laugh and enjoy a book and enjoy a cup of coffee. And there, I think the older you get, the more I hope I learn the rhythm and the tension of living in both.
How about this? Made me think about something I told you that stood out to me just in the book of Ecclesiastes. But like what you were just saying, you know, even in Ecclesiastes, it talks about how there's a time for every activity under the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it says on there, there's a time to weep and a time to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there is a season for every, you know, there's and so to live in just one of them, we miss it. But the book of Ecclesiastes is my favorite Old Testament book. And, but it's, you know, here's a guy who spends his whole life trying to pursue everything that he thinks will bring meaning into his life, because the whole book's about meaningless. He thinks life is meaningless. Solomon, at the very end of his life, who chases money, and he chases performance, and he chases knowledge, and he chases everything you can imagine. And basically the resolve that he comes to, I love this verse I was reading, and it just made me pause and think about life, and, you know, especially as somebody who wants to build and achieve and do things like that. Am I missing out on life because I live with a destination mindset that one day when I get there, then I'll enjoy life, versus what does it look like to learn how to enjoy the journey and to enjoy life as you go? And I love what he says kind of after he goes through all these things that he tried to find meaning and he couldn't find it. And he says, a person can do nothing better. I mean, again, I take this in stride with kind of where his mindset was. But a person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil, their own work. This, too, I see is from the hand of God. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment?
Yep.
To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness.
It's good.
I was like, oh, man, that's good. Like, you know, and so I do think that.
What is it, the runner? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it is a beautiful picture to hold that tension and say there's a time to work and there's a time to labor and a time but there has to also be time for you to enjoy life. And if you live with a one day, because I think we do that. Well, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Just said that the other night. My wife laughed about it and said, how many times have we said that? It's so stupid. It's not true, right? I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, I'm going to burn the candle from both ends because I got so much to do. Or, you know, I will enjoy life when I retire. It's like, well, but if you live with that attitude, you'll probably die once you retire.
Right. Why not create a life you enjoy every day, starting today?
I think it's what we need to do.
What's the runner, Chariots of Fire, that old Christian
Eric Little?
Eric Little, that said, when I run, I feel the pleasure of God.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're a father. I'm sure that you take joy when your daughters are studying and pursuing great things. And I imagine you also have joy when they're laughing.
Oh, gosh.
And playing and enjoying life.
I don't really find joy because when they're studying and pursuing stuff, I end up having to do the work and it's stressful.
You created them to enjoy you. and I think
I enjoy hanging out.
God created us to enjoy him and enjoy life. And as we do that, I think we create the kind of lives that people actually look in on and say, hey, what do you have? It's so. Go ahead.
My favorite part of, you made reference to this trip to Daytona. The conference was great. My favorite part might have just been when we hung out.
Yeah.
It was
so good.
Driving in a car for an hour and a half.
Yes,
and the jokes,
the
and
jokes, and the laughter,
and a certain someone peeing by the side of the road.
That was amazing.
Another certain someone who was this close to getting a belly ring.
Yeah,
and it's not a girl. So these are the honestly these are the memories that I have from those moments, and that I think that is part of what helps me enjoy the life and and even ministry. It's like I mean, there was so much so great about that trip, but those are the moments that I kind of remember the most. Those are the highlights for me.
And our souls need that.
Yeah.
And
not feel guilty for that.
And not feel guilty. Like, life is short. And that's, and it's crazy. I mean, you talked about Elijah, I think this past Sunday, but isn't it crazy how when Elijah was depressed, God didn't wake him up and say, pray more?
No.
I mean, we always need to pray more, I'm sure, but God woke him up and says, you need to eat some good food. He baked him a donut and said, eat it.
Bread. Maybe it had some sugar in it, but we'll just say.
But it's crazy. Like, it's so, sometimes what we think, I stopped a girl 2 weeks ago on a Sunday that I knew had been having some mental health struggles, some anxiety, and I was like, how are you doing? And she's like, well, I got on a new medication. But so what I'm about to say, I would not normally say this. I have relational equity with this person, and we've had these conversations. But I challenged them, and I said, okay, but can I ask you a couple questions? So yeah, I was like, when was the last time you exercised? And she's like, oh, I haven't. I was like, when was the last time you had good community where you laughed? Oh, I haven't. I've been isolating. When was the last time you did this? And I just said, look, I'm glad we're in a place where mental health is no longer taboo in the church for the most part, and even having medication.
Yeah.
I said, but I just want to remind you, you're a holistic being, and that for your mental and emotional and spiritual health, all of those parts matter.
Yeah.
Community, recreation,
Yeah.
Exercise, life, that all feeds into it. And like you said, like, it is not unspiritual. It's so funny how we segment our lives. Sunday morning, that's really spiritual.
Yeah.
But my time to enjoy, God created laughter. God created food.
Or that we can't come to church and have fun.
And we can't have you know what's crazy is a couple weeks ago, a few people from the church, shout out, it was Paige, Tommy, and Hope. We went to a Clippers game on Sunday afternoon. Went to Clippers. It was one of those perfect evenings. We laughed, had so much fun, and then we left early. Talked to Torchy's, new favorite taco place. And just we were like, let's go to Torchy's. I talked him into it. I was like, you've got to try it. None of them tried it. We drove to Torchy's, ate. I'm talking about like food coma, and I say this for a reason. I had nothing. I had like a sparkling water to drink.
It wasn't a margarita.
It wasn't a margarita. It was sparkling water. I say that because on the way home, we put on some of our favorite songs, and the sun was setting, sang to the top of our lungs. I started texting, calling someone. They said, have you had something to drink?
Drunk?
And I said, honestly, it sounds so cliche, but I feel so high on life right now. Like my cup felt so full.
Yeah.
And so,
that's
like,
cool.
Kind of back to the whole recreation thing. I had a similar moment in 2020 where on my quote-unquote Sabbath days, my soul days on Saturdays, I go to Skillet, this restaurant in German Village. And the guy behind the bar, Patrick, he would always invite me to go with him sometime to jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, but you never do it.
Yeah.
And one day I told him, I said, I'm going to take you up on that offer. So I went one random Thursday night to this hole-in-the-wall jiu-jitsu place in German Village.
Did you get your gi out of the closet?
No, but they made me wear one. They gave me one.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
What belt did they give you?
I'm pretty sure it was white.
Well, I'm sure it was white.
Yeah. And for 2 hours, I got, can I just say this, the crap beaten out of me.
Dude, you had a black eye.
I rolled.
You had a black eye.
Well, I had, people thought I had hickeys. I had cuts all over my neck because it was stranglehold night. So after 20 to 30 minutes of endurance training and rolling and flipping on the mat and all these things, we had takedown sessions. Then we had, people would choke, it was chokehold night.
Yeah.
And you had to get out of it. And I was bruised and cut and injured and on cloud freaking 9. I left that place and I called someone and they said, you sound so full. They said, you sound like you are. And I
just got my butt kicked. It was so much fun.
But how, like, sometimes I heard John Bevere say this because John Bevere is a very spiritual, very
Yes,
serious,
very.
very serious. So this kind of surprised me. But he said one time he was just studying scripture and was asking God, "Would you help me understand this? Would you help me?" And he said he heard God almost as clear and audibly as he'd ever heard. Said, "John, close the Bible and go play football." He's like, "Lord, is that you?" And he's like, and he said, "It's the clearest he ever heard God. Close the Bible and go play football." And I just think
I picture him going outside playing football by himself.
throwing
the ball to the ground and go get it. But
hey,
sometimes we can be so scholarly in life that we miss the point of it.
What does it? Proverbs says, "Much study wearies the soul."
Yeah. You can be so even spiritually, you can be so scholarly that you miss the point of it all.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy God? How do you enjoy life?
Yeah.
And if He made us to laugh,
Part of worship is enjoying life.
Medicine.
Yes.
Laughter is the
is.
best medicine.
That's why I always try to give a lot of good medicine.
Your laugh is the best.
Thank you.
So I think at the whole point of this.
Well, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
Oh my. Working on a deck.
That's not a hobby.
Oh, it's not a hobby. Okay. Working out.
Okay, yeah.
Can that be a hobby?
Yeah.
Because it's not a profession.
It's replenishing.
It is replenishing.
And if it's replenishing,
if I miss it, I hate it. I working out. I do it about 4 times a week. It is a high priority for me, and so to me, that is one of the things I love to do. I love weights, and I don't love cardio, but I do the cardio. But I like doing that and staying in shape. That's big for me. I like on Fridays. It's kind of become a hobby, spending time with my wife, go do something. We really enjoy doing that. I like
what? What do you do?
We'll go out. There's to either a favorite restaurant. We'll go to a couple stores, do some shopping, just stuff like that. But it's about the pace, and it's about going to that. I've said this before. Now I have not done it this year. I think I've just been so busy. I did it quite a bit last year, but I really have been into competitive shooting. And so I was doing that probably once or twice a month, and on Saturday mornings. And I've been thinking about that. I haven't done it all this year. I've been so busy with the book and the release, and so I haven't.
Need to get back at it.
I know. So I would do that. I also a hobby that I had for a very long time that I kind of have fallen away from a little bit was playing golf. So I really enjoyed playing golf. Lately, me and golf haven't been on speaking terms, and so it just hasn't been real pretty.
I'll go with you.
I need to get some new clubs. I did go when I was in Houston, driving range, and it's funny because I think hobbies, like a lot of other things, is when you make time to do it, you find yourself enjoying it more and more, wanting to do it more.
Yes, and you're always glad when you make yourself do it.
And then the moment you kind of stop doing it for a long time, it's really hard to get back to doing it.
Yeah.
People say the same thing about working out. You don't work out for a long time, and it's just like, I can't do it. But when you do it all the time, you're like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And so, and friends, I really love going over to, we'll go over to, we had a lot of times this summer going over to Trey and Jessica's house, and they got a pool, and going over and just hang out and go swimming, go do things like that. So I probably don't have a ton, but those are probably some movies I like. I have a membership at a movie theater place where you get a free ticket every month and all that. And so I like going to the movies. I really do. I'll go sometimes with another pastor friend of mine, Pastor Matthew. He loves movies. And so I actually owe him a movie right now. And so but I love going to movies. That's something that I could probably do that once a week, once every other. I probably don't once a month, but I could probably easily go to a movie once a month just for the experience. I did when I was in Houston by myself. Yeah, I went to a movie. I had time to kill by myself, and I went and saw a movie. That's where I saw Jurassic World. Yeah, we're not talking unhealthy levels of self-indulgence. We're talking about self-investment. We're talking about refreshment, replenishment, enjoying life. What about you? You like coffee?
I love coffee shops. I love going to coffee shops and reading. Although I got to be careful. Sometimes I think I need to read more during the week and less during the weekend. For me, it's also types of reading.
Yeah, reading for enjoyment or reading to learn.
Reading for, I heard Robert Morris say one time that on his Sabbath, he doesn't read anything that he would apply during the week. Yeah. So fiction or memoir or something like that. But I also like to move more. I actually heard Matt Chandler say, I thought this was interesting. He said, if during the week you work with your mind, then Sabbath with your hands.
Sounds like you need a house.
And so
You'll have plenty of stuff you can do with your hands.
So I've fallen in love. This isn't really a hobby, but I've said this multiple times. I've fallen in love with walks. On my Saturdays.
You walk on your hands?
No, with your bike. Like I walk. I usually during the week I'll average about 8,000 steps. On Saturdays I average close to 20,000 steps. I will walk for miles. I'll run and walk and walk through the parks and like. But hobby, gym. That's like a daily outlet. That is I leave straight from work every day straight to the gym. And
you don't leave the gym till like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, unless I have something.
You're there for 4 hours.
I'm usually there. No, I mean usually it's less than. Usually it's an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
I mean, because part of it too is
but half of your gym time is social time.
Well, this is a good. It's a good and bad thing, but there's a great community at our gym right now of friends, and that's part of it. It's a great community.
I love it.
But I like to work out for an hour, and then you make fun of me, but I love the sauna. To me, the sauna is so relaxing. So
we're gonna have to put that in the category of hobbies.
Yes, that's hobby. I have been begging Phil Wheeler to get on a tennis court with me.
I love tennis. I like tennis.
We need to do it. I love tennis during the summer. When I grew up, like I did that every summer at Lake Junaluska in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and a couple summers ago during quarantine, I bought a racket. I took someone with me, and we played tennis, and it was so fun. And
I'll play.
Let's do it.
I love tennis.
Let's do it.
I actually do enjoy tennis.
And I've been telling Tommy Dawson, I'm not a golfer, but I'll go. I'm a win in Rome when it comes to that kind of stuff. I love that. Jordan Grubb has been challenging me because him and Megan are newly married. So he's been challenging me to a duel in ping pong. So I am not a brag, but I am probably the best in the entire world at ping pong.
Kind of really. Well,
I like you. I love
also
movies.
play ping pong.
Listen, we need to do it. I mean, I beat you.
I'll embarrass you. Are you really that good?
At ping pong, yes.
Are you?
Tennis, it might be close. But ping pong, yes.
Are you really that good?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I can't tell if you're being serious.
I'm serious.
You're really that good.
Yes.
Ping pong.
At ping pong, I am.
Really?
I don't brag about a lot, but ping pong, yeah,
Okay,
I'm good.
I haven't played in a long time, but, I can play.
Okay.
I mean, it's like tennis.
You said that like a subtle, but I can play.
I mean, I can play enough.
Dabble.
I can play enough to
dabble.
play. I can play enough to play, but...
Yeah, well, I don't just dabble, I dominate.
Okay.
So I need you to know that when we play...
Okay. You probably would beat me then.
Movies, for sure. I tell you something that... Two things that... I don't know if you call them hobbies, because it's not like you can do it every day, but two things that are so life-giving for me are...
Massey's Pizza.
Well, no. Travel and live music. I love concerts.
Did you say every day?
I said there are things that I don't know if they're hobbies because you can't do them every day.
Oh, I gotcha.
But when I can do them, they're life-giving for me. Is travel. I love to get on a plane. I love to explore new places or to visit an area with old friends. Travel fills me up. And travel and live music. So there's a ton of concerts coming up in August. There's a few I went to last month, but I will forever love concerts, forever love travel. Those two they fill my tank.
Yeah, that's good. Bucket. I like travel too. I like traveling. So those are good. So I think at the end of the day, the idea of this conversation is to really challenge and encourage people to say, do you have hobbies? Do you make time for fun?
Yeah.
Make time for fun.
It's important, and life is so short.
Yeah.
So prioritize it like you would anything else. I have a running list on my phone of the next few months, and in each month, concerts I'm going to prioritize or travel and everybody's life looks different and priorities look different and workload looks different, but what does it look like to prioritize? We're talking, and I'm probably going to mention this in the message that will have come out already when this comes out, but the whole idea of recreation, if you look at the root of it, it's recreate. And your cells die and are recreated constantly. Your soul needs to be recreated constantly. And we talked about this in a earlier podcast, but we live in a day and age. Are you saying
the soul exists at a cellular level?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And we talked about this in a podcast earlier, but we live in a time where even just natural circumstances are against us. We are indoors 93% of the time.
Yeah.
So we're insulated from the restorative effects of the sun and nature and beauty, and then we're in a faster paced society than has ever existed in the span of history. So we have a lot going against us. So even more than any previous generation, we're going to have to prioritize recreating our inner person, because here's just a thought. We could be, some of us, our joy, our energy, our positivity, our outlook on life might be deteriorating because a long time ago we stopped recreating. And what does it look like to actually prioritize recreation in your life? That maybe it's not a luxury, maybe it's a necessity.
So have fun.
So have fun. Have fun.
Find things that, we just close with this. I think you could find things that you could do. I think it's always good to find things you can do in certain rhythms. So, yearly, there's a trip or two that you would plan to take, a vacation, a trip someplace else, whatever, yearly too, right? Seasonally. I think of like, okay, here in Columbus, when fall season comes up, what are those fall things that you love to do? The football game, the going to pick apples, just the things that you can do in the fall. Winter time, it could be, hey, we're always going to find one time to go snow skiing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be that. Or summertime, maybe it's prioritizing to go play tennis.
Yep. And guess what? You may feel guilty about leaving people. Maybe if you're in a work environment and don't make a hobby an idol in which you neglect your family. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But guess what? The people around you may need you to recreate.
Yeah.
There are probably people in every work organization that they hope that you go on vacation because you're a nicer, better version of you when you get back.
Yeah. That's good.
So investing in yourself is always, as long as you do it in a healthy, self-indulgent, selfish way. Investing in yourself.
We've also seen people do it to the extreme,
right?
Which is because I've seen this a lot. I know a lot of guys. I want to say specifically guys, just in my circle, who have been obsessed with golf. And golf is one of those hobbies that takes a long time and costs money.
Yeah.
And so I know people that would go golfing 2, 3, 4 times a week. I mean, you're talking about that's a part-time job,
right?
And so if you're single or if your kids are grown up or you have a little bit more time, maybe that's fine, but don't leave people in the dust. To go do this. And so I think that's what you're talking about. Keep that balance in there. It's that's the whole. God gave us a rhythm of, hey, you could work 6, but you take 1 off.
Yeah.
It's not take 5 off, work 2.
Right.
And so I think there's still something innate in all of us where we need to create. But then we also need to recreate.
Yeah.
We need
it's
to
the balance
and procreate. Okay, no, that's not. That one was not supposed to fit on there.
I was thinking about. Do you remember Judah Smith's book? He came out with like
How's Your Soul?
7 years ago. How's Your Soul? Remember the 4 R's he gave for a healthy life? Rest.
Why do you remember them?
Because it's so good.
Okay.
And I was listening to him and Chelsea's newest podcast, In Good Faith.
He mentioned it
again. He went back to it. Rest, relationships, restriction, and responsibility. That a healthy life has those 4 in balance. Responsibility. So if you're golfing 5 days a week and you got responsibility, your work, part of living a rewarding, fulfilling life that's filled with joy is you are meaningfully working. Work's a gift. It's not a curse to be avoided. Responsibility, restriction. Saying no to yourself is healthy.
Don't say yes to everything. It's a good way to get in trouble.
Being able to say no to yourself is a really healthy thing. And to others when you need to. So responsibility, restriction, relationships. Life, the quality of life is the quality of relationships. Relationship with God, your relationship with others.
Agree.
And then rest. Do you have a soul day? And are you doing recreation?
He was missing the 5th one.
What's that?
Recreation.
Well, he kind of combined. I think
Gotcha.
Well, how are you resting? How are you recreating?
Yeah.
How are you filling up the human inside of you?
Gotcha. I love it.
So
good.
Let us know your hobbies. Let us know ideas for fun. What do you do for fun?
Yeah.
And Phil Wheeler or anybody else, if you're watching, you want to play tennis?
I'll play you in tennis.
Okay, when? Let's not just say it. When we're going to do it?
I don't know.
Tonight?
No.
Okay.
We can't do it tonight.
Tomorrow night.
I'm busy. No, can't do it tomorrow night.
Okay.
I probably can't do it the rest of this week, and then I'm traveling because I do that for a hobby. And but when we get back, I'm serious. I would be glad to go play tennis. I enjoy tennis. I haven't played it in
and it's such a good workout too.
It is. You get moving if you play with somebody that's decent at getting the ball back across the net. Then you can have a lot of fun. I just have to be careful I don't throw my shoulder out because I'm the type of person that it doesn't matter scale. That first serve. I just swing for the fences. And it's like it might make it in 8% of the time, but if it does, you're not returning it. And then the second one's a dink. So then it's really hard because then it's really easy to return. So that's kind of been my strategy. It's like I get that first serve in, you aren't returning it, but I probably won't get it in most times. That's my, and then I just run real hard.
You should go to Wimbledon one day.
Wimbledon?
Yeah, that'd be so fun. That little town that surrounds it.
Yeah. I think I'd rather go to, again, we're getting way off and we're done. But I would rather go to the Masters.
That'd be fun too.
I would love to go to the Masters.
That'd
That's kind of like
fun.
bucket list. If there's a sporting event to go to, it's the Masters. Anyways.
All
Let us
right.
know.
Let us know what you do to have fun. We'll see you next week.